We'll go out that way. Heather Riddle, Christy Johnson, Barbara Stanley, Caroline Wilson, Becky Halpin, Jane Norwood. They will be followed by Tara Welsh, Sarah Spite, Molly Terry, Jessica Levy, Melanie Toney, Isaac Gomez, Heather Riddle. You're Heather?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Heather Riddle. I live in San Antonio, Texas, and I'm a constituent of Letitia Vandepeek, and I oppose this bill. To say that SB 1 is a bill in the interest of women's health and safety is disingenuous. The author of the House bill, Representative Lavenberg, admitted last Tuesday to failing to conduct research to determine the possible outcomes and repercussions of this bill. SB 1 and HB 2 will greatly restrict access to abortion as well as other health care services like pap smears, breast exams, STD testing, and diabetes screenings, which will unduly burden and could irrevocably change the lives and access to health care of poor and rural women across Texas. These are the very same women that thus far this legislation has refused to seek input from in the form of hearings held in the cities and counties that will be most affected by this legislation. If the ultimate goal of the conservative agenda is to reduce the number of women seeking abortions, reducing the number of unintended pregnancies in Texas is essential. A study conducted by the Guttmacher Institute shows that nationally around 45 to 50% of live births are reported as unintended pregnancies, and approximately 43% of unplanned pregnancies end in abortion. Additionally, several studies have shown that providing no or low-cost birth control actually reduces the number of abortions. A study released in October 2012 shows the correlation between providing free birth control with dropping the rate of abortion down around 75% lower than the national average. Another key component in reducing abortions is the education of those at risk, but unfortunately Texas subscribes to the abstinence-only education idea, which in essence is setting up future generations for failure. In Texas, 3.7 million children are not taught the basics of STD and pregnancy prevention in school, whereas 52% of Texas students have had sexual intercourse. Even my conservative colleagues would agree that no child should be handed a gun without an education regarding the dangers of its use. So, too, should we educate our developing children on the dangers of their actions regarding sex. We cannot expect them to magically be protected from danger without knowledge of their circumstances. The failure of the current education is reflected in the fact that Texas is ranked 4th in the nation for teenage pregnancy. I urge you all to vote no on SB 1 on behalf of the women of Texas who expect their duly elected lawmakers to have their constituents' best interests in mind and not their own political careers.
Thank you. Christy Johnson. Christy Johnson was registered wishing to provide oral testimony in opposition to the bill. We will change that to registering the position. Barbara Stanley. Barbara Stanley will be changed to registering position in opposition to the bill. Carolyn Wilson. Carolyn Wilson will be shown registering a position in opposition to the bill. Becky Halpin.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Becky Halpin. I'm from Austin, and I oppose this bill. Working as a physical therapist several decades ago, I treated a 2-year-old girl with trisomy 18. She could not sit up, roll over, or speak. She could not eat or drink and was fed through a tube in her stomach. She had some sight, but family members were not certain whether or not she recognized them. She could not bend at the hips normally and did not like to be held. She had a heart defect which was worsening. She was always pale and sometimes bluish. She regularly cried and could not be consoled nor made comfortable. Her parents divorced. No child care facilities near the family would accept the child, so the maternal grandmother quit her job and provided child care while the mother worked. The mother usually spent her nights alone with the child and seemed generally exhausted. I resolved that if I were ever pregnant with a child who had trisomy 18, I would not carry it to term. Not because it would be so hard as it was for this family, but because the child herself suffered so gravely. I could not, in good conscience, bring a child into the world knowing that he or she would live like this. This genetic malformation is often diagnosed around 20 weeks. For parents who do not want to bring a child into the world to suffer with this disease, limiting abortions to 20 weeks forces them to carry a very sick child to term, pray that the child dies within the mother, or figure out how to get to another state or Mexico for an abortion. In all fairness, this bill should expand the limit to 24 weeks for families such as these. It is hard enough to make these decisions without the state making it harder. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Is Dr. Jane Norwood here? We will change that from wishing to provide oral testimony in opposition to the bill to wishing to register a physician in opposition to the bill. Thank you both. We'll go out that way.